Hi, everyone. Welcome to our One World Zohar Energy Encounter. This week's portion is the portion of Re'eh, and there is no Zohar specific to this, so we're going to the prologue in volume 1 of our edition of the Zohar, and we're in verse 16. Let's begin by setting our consciousness. Remember, when we connect to the Zohar, we are connecting to the flawless universe and opening up channels for all kinds of fulfillment in our world. So let's consciously begin with, let's send out healing to everyone we know who needs healing. Whoever needs healing, whoever you know, just send them energy of healing as we connect to these verses. Mendel bat Chaya, Moshe ben Chana, Elber ben Imelda, Melda bat Carmen, Ariel bat Rivka Tova, Sipur bat Diane, Nachman ben Chaya, Rachel ben Chaya, Jeffrey ben Fern, Shandel Dvor bat Chaya Chana, Levi ben Bluma, Sar bat Malka, Yisuk ben Rivka, Melis bat Margie, Chana bat Rivka, Yudi Masan Navam bat Aviva, Ganesa bat Rachel Dina, Surpel bat Teresa, Kar bat Susan, Aviva bat Nina, Tinok bat Saratova. Also, let's send that energy of assistance to those souls that we know are in their first 12 months of elevation, those souls that have passed and need assistance, need comfort and assistance and elevation on that journey. Let's also send out, let's also connect the energy of Ahavat Chinam, unconditional love, treating everyone with human decency, connecting to the energy of removal of chaos, removal of negativity, protection from evil eye and evil speech, ending the wars and conflicts that are going on in our world, the protection of all those innocents in harm's way, and also the safe release of the remaining hostages being held by Hamas. Also, let's invite in the Rabbi Karen and Michael, Rabbi Shlag, Rabbi Brandwein, the Ria Kodesh, the Ramchal, Rabbi Tafon, Rabbi Razulai, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Levatepsk, Rav Kolona Shapir Pia Setzna, Baal Shem Tov, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, and all the students of Mordechai of Chernobyl, one soul with Yosef Tzaddik, Joseph the Righteous in Shechem. Also inviting in today's anniversary of elevation of Rav Yehuda Tzvi of Berlin, otherwise known as the Netziv, who was a hugely elevated soul, Kabbalist, and major influence in Eastern Europe back in the day. Okay. One other thing. We're approaching, so there is no Zohar portion for this week. So as the Rav always says, less is more. So no Zohar portion. There's a tremendous amount of energy to be revealed. And this being the portion of Re'eh literally means, by the way, it's one of the only portions that corresponds to one of the 72 names. But it's also this idea of vision. So it's an opportunity for us to enhance our ability to see and comprehend what's going on around us. So it's a huge opening for that this week. And we want to turn our consciousness to working on our ability to see a deeper reality. And with that, we'll begin by reading the Zohar. Also, Saturday night is the new moon of Elul, of Virgo. And, each month has a unique energy. Virgo's energy is the energy of Virgos. I mean, they're born in that month. And that's the energy. We will have enhanced vision. Well, what will we see? We'll see the imperfections around us. So we will definitely see the imperfections of the world around us. It's already happening. It's already infusing our world. I mean, we're almost at the new moon as it is. But it is tomorrow night. It is for 2 days. So it's Saturday night, Sunday, Monday. And we want to be very focused on planting the right seed for the month in preparation for the new year, which will happen at the end of the month. But Virgos, again, they see the imperfections of the world, but they have a hard time seeing their own imperfections. So it is an opportunity for us to ask for vision, ask for assistance. I want to see what I need to be working on. I want to see in what ways I'm blocking my light. In what ways do I need to make changes to manifest the best version of myself? That's the opportunity that we have, that we're moving into. And we want to do that at a seed level so we can maximize the impact and importance of the month altogether, but for sure the new moon. So we we do this reading with that in mind also. Okay, again, volume 1, prologue, verse 16. This is called the prologue, but if they'd asked me to name it, maybe I would have said prologue, but I might have said seed level for the whole Zohar, because there's a lot of foundational concepts that are here, and that's us connecting to the energy, foundational energy. 16. Amar Rabbi Shimon, Alda Shemaya v'chelehon bameh it beriu dichtiv ki shemecha maaseh etzbeotecha v'gomer ichtiv ma adir shimcha b'chol aretz asher tana hodcha al hashemayim iu l'salka bishma begin devara nahora li nahore v'it labash Da b'da v'salek bishma ila'a v'alda b'reshit bara Elokim da Elokim ila'a dehama la havai hache v'la itbene. So before we do the English, just want to share a concept that I heard Yehuda, one of the senior teachers, Yehuda Ashkenazi, shared this week in a live class that he did. And the concept is this. He said the Rav used to say that, imagine you're watching TV and you start with season 2, whatever show it is. Maybe it's Foundation on Apple TV. But you're watching any show where there's multiple seasons, you start with season 2. You're going to know what's going on? You're not going to know what's going on. You could watch, the review of what happened in the last episode, but you're still not going to know everything that happened in the first season. So things will be out of context. You'll be trying to figure things out. The Rav said that's like our life. We don't know season 1. We're starting in season 2. And so much of what's going on in our life, we don't understand the significance of, we are blind to, because we missed the first season. So it's just again, one of the reasons why in a lot of our connections, we pray for spiritual memory is because we're trying to remember why we're here, what happened in prior lives that we were actually here to work on. Yehuda told the story that when a life is in the 9 months of pregnancy in the womb, right before birth, an angel comes and teaches that soul everything they need to know in this lifetime. And then in the process of birth, well, what I heard was another angel comes and touches you here and you forget everything. But in the process of birth, we come into the world and we don't remember any of that. But we know it. At a deep level, we know it. And that's why when we're on track sometimes, when we're aligned with our soul's purpose, we can feel that alignment. And we always want to be looking for that. I mean, we don't feel that a lot. It's okay to not feel it. I'm not saying you have to be feeling that all the time. That's ideally would be great. Arguably, when you don't feel it, you're in a better position because you're aware that you don't feel it and you can work on it. Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to work on manifesting the best version of ourselves. So when you feel like you're not manifesting the best version of yourself, do what you can do, use the tools that we have, connect in the ways you can, ask the light for help, talk to the creator about it. And then, we do what we can, hand over the rest to the creator. But it's a tremendous opportunity we have in this portion of Re'eh, where we're connecting to the light and we're asking for vision. And also in this upcoming month, where we have the opportunity in the month of Elul to go back to our perfected self. Elul is the virgin. It's perfect. We have an opportunity to connect to our perfect self and see, here I am. Here's my perfected self. What is in the way? Okay. Having said that, we're going to read the English for verse 16. There's 2 prior articles we're not reading. So we're coming into the third in a series of discussions. So this stuff we're not going to know. And that's okay, because I want to awake within us this ability to connect to seasons 2 and seasons 1. because that's what the Zohar does for us. It helps us connect to our soul. So the fact that we haven't seen these two pre-seasons, it's okay. You're going to be fine. we're gonna connect to those series of our lives that we don't remember. That's the spiritual memory that we want and we want to connect to. And why? All this is setting us up to have an amazing year, beginning with Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year. Okay, Alex, 16.
Rabbi Shimon said, so accordingly, the heavens and their hosts were created by Ma, which refers to Malchut.
Okay, so we have this idea. There's a verse that shows up before, and the verse is Ma'ele. What are these? There's a whole discussion about what that is, or Mi bara ele. So there are words that show up, there are phrases that show up in our holy texts that sound like a question. Ma'ele, what are these? And what the Zohar is telling us is it's not a question. I mean, on one level, it is a question. On another level, it's the answer. Ma doesn't mean what? I mean, literally it does. Ma is a reference to Malchut. Now, the crazy thing about this, if you ask me, is I just randomly started studying these series of Zohars, but they correspond exactly to the Zohars that we've been studying in the afternoon, Monday through Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Central Time. And we had a whole conversation yesterday in that class about, did Malchut create anything? Rabbi Shimon said, accordingly, the heavens and their hosts were created by Ma, which refers to Malchut. Malchut created the heavens and their hosts? Like, it seems backward. Shouldn't the heavens and the hosts have come first? Weren't they created by the Creator? So again, as I've often said, when we're studying the construct of reality, when we're studying the sfirot, those emanations of the Creator, we're studying the Creator. When you try to figure out what's going on spiritually, you're delving into the light of the Creator. You're trying to understand the Creator. And that, like if you try to understand a person, you're getting closer to them. Your most valued relationship and partnerships, it's like, what are you feeling? I want to know what you're feeling. I need to know what it is that we have a relationship. That's what a relationship is about. Understanding where the people who are around us, where they're at, and trying to assist them on their journey. Otherwise, why are we even in their lives? So when we study the Sfirot and we study the construct of our reality, and when we study the 10 luminous emanations, we're studying the Creator. We're creating what we call dveikut, a clinging to the light of the Creator. And ultimately, that's where we need to be. When I'm aligned with the light of the Creator, guaranteed I'm aligned with the purpose of my soul. So, but still, does it make sense that Malchut, our realm, created the heavens and their hosts? It doesn't seem to make sense. Let's continue and see how this plays out. Alex?
Which refers to Malchut, as it is written, when I behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, put before this, it is written, how majestic is your name in all the earth, who have set your glory above the heavens.
Okay, so there's two verses from Psalms chapter 8, verse 4 and verse 2 that are being quoted here to give us a better sense. And this is a, I'm trying to figure out which, this chapter where it shows up in our connections, but it definitely does. At least for sure that second verse. A lot of times in our connections, it's not the whole chapter of Psalms that is in our connection. Sometimes there's a collection of verses from different chapters. And that second verse, Ma'adir Shimcha b'chol haaretz, definitely shows up. I just can't recall where, but it's definitely in our connections. But again, how majestic is your name in all the earth? Like Ma Adir. But again, Ma in this context is not a question, it's a statement. Ma means what, or in this case, how. It's like how. It's not a question, it's a statement. And it refers to Malchut. And it's referring to when you see Ma Adir Shimcha, It's actually, the translation is, how majestic is your name in all of the earth. What's majestic about a name? Well, the name, specifically the Tetragrammaton, as we know, is a collection, is a connection to the 10 Sfirot. That's what the name is. So it looks like a line, oh, we're just praising the Creator. But remember, the Creator doesn't need our praise. When we're praising the Creator, it's because we need to rise above our ego and understand our relationship with the Creator. And so when we say how majestic is the Creator's name, this is us, it's an opportunity for us to develop a level of humility. Again, the more I think of myself in I don't mean a positive way, just the more ego I have, the more I think I'm responsible for the positive things that happen in my life. That's our definition of ego. I think I did the work. I mean, I did. I showed up. I made the ask. I got the business. I showed up. I performed the surgery. The patient did really well. I showed up. I closed a major transaction. I showed up. I managed a division within a company. I did that. Well, you didn't. The light set all that up. The light assisted you at every step of the way. So again, one major takeaway for us here is, again, to develop humility in terms of our relationship with the Creator and understanding that the light is in everything we do. We're not accomplishing anything without the assistance of the Creator. Okay, let's continue.
Uh,
The heavens.
yeah, the heavens were created by the name Ma, which is Malchut. However, the phrase above the heavens refers to Binah, which is called Me, and is above Zerampin, which is called the heavens. The
Okay, so
meaning of
great,
this.
great to know that when the verse refers to the heavens, what is that? Is it just some like far away land with angels and unicorns? Like, what is the deal there? So, no, it's Binah. It's the reservoir of fulfillment. Yeah, it is a very special place. So, when we talk about heaven on earth, we're talking about forming a deep connection between Malchut and Binah. What happened was, as the Arizal explains, we wanted an opportunity to earn light. And so we find ourselves in a realm where the only way light shows up is with our work. There is the only way to manifest light here. There is no light here. It's all coming from the upper realm. Ultimately, that Binah is the reservoir of fulfillment. That's the heaven. We're always trying to channel and bring those blessings down here. Why? Because we wanted a world where we could earn the light. And so immediately before, in the process of creation, a tzimtzum, a restriction occurs, the grand tzimtzum of all time. The Creator removes his light and creates the moon. Nothing's growing on the moon. It's empty. And the moon only gets lit up when the sun is shining on it.
But doesn't our ability to reflect actually create the light here as well? And that's what creates.
That's returning light of reflection. Absolutely.
Right.
But you need consciousness for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So much of it, I'm glad you pointed that out. So much of what we're experiencing requires a conscious of understanding, just like the moon has no light, our world doesn't have any light. The moon is Malchut. Our world is Malchut. The sun is there on pin. The sun is the source of the light. Can I look at the sun? No. Can I look at Zeranpin? Not really. Not really. It's there. I look at the reflection of the light. And I'm looking around my office and I'm saying the light's reflecting. It is. But the truth is, it's reflecting off my retina. That's all. That's the reflection. It's literally in your head. None of this is real. It's all on your retina. It's all on your head. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because there's plenty of room down there. But it's our consciousness that matters. And what another major takeaway whenever we're studying Zohar, but specifically here, is to understand that without consciousness, we don't have those openings. In order to create those openings, we need to consciously embrace this construct. If you're stuck with, well, the name of God is glorious, or in this case, majestic. If you want to stick with that, that's great. Yeah, the name is majestic, that's great. If you want to dive in a little bit deeper, you're diving in to the realm of fulfillment. You're diving into be not. You're diving into the construct of reality where the light of the creator is available, but it requires reflection, it requires restriction, and it requires consciousness. And in that way, we earn it. We have to do stuff. We have to apply ourselves. We have to step up. And again, as the Ari explains, in this world, this is the world of action. You have to do stuff to manifest the light. And
So especially, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Especially with where we are coming into Elul, all right, I was just actually talking about this. The doing stuff doesn't necessarily mean doing more. Sometimes, especially as we reflect past, the past year, it actually can mean doing more. So an example would be giving somebody else this space to share what's on their mind. That I think is something that we can get lost in, but that can be you actually giving back in a way of receiving though, because now you're giving someone else an opportunity, right?
That's right. The doing something isn't, oh, it may just be listening.
Right.
It may just be showing up for somebody. I was watching what is that show on Apple? Shrinking?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a great show. So
Great
last
show.
night, the major character, comedian, the big guy, whatever his name is, the episode I saw, he is kind of having a breakdown. He finally, and what he was doing was like he's a therapist, and it's pointed out to him that he is carrying a lot of pain around, and he's medicating, self-medicating in a certain way by getting every time he helps a patient, he feels good.
Mm.
And it's compensating for the pain that he's carrying around. Like he's not dealing with his pain. I mean, he's active, he's helping patients, he's got a full book of patients, but he's not, the action is misaligned. He's carrying around pain and he's showing up in his other relationships in pain. They can see it, he can't. And I just want to say that each one of us is probably guilty of that in some way. We are carrying pain around, and we have developed over, at least one lifetime, if not multiple lifetimes, ways of compensating for the pain that we're carrying around.
Hey, David.
Yes.
I thought actually, I've only seen a little bit of it, that he's healing through the patients now, right? He starts to understand and see. So the only reason I'm saying that is for us, right? When you said when you were giving your examples, we don't do it, the creator does it. When we realize and we can remember in the moments when something good happens, when we say the right thing, when we do the right thing, whatever, when we can know in that moment, it wasn't me, I was simply a channel. I feel like that's the corollary for what's going on with that show. Then you're actually opening up your channels to have true connection.
Right. But you can, yes. But one of the way, no question about it. And we still have our pain that we're not, that we're carrying around. We still have that. Like you can be showing up for everybody in a sensitive way. And I'm just channeling information. Before I start this class, I'm like, one of the things I say is, Rob, I could really use a hand today. To assist me in just connecting to the right information. But notwithstanding, it doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to see my pain. There was one of the things that Eitan talked about last Rosh Hashanah, which I've been trying to ask myself every day. Or not ask myself, I've been trying to every day ask for help. Please help me see my pain.
But wait, David, as long as you're going down this road, the point is that there's no question, hardest thing for us to see is our blind spots, right? But the whole idea is that we are actually supposed to put out the intention messages that I want to see this, I want to work on this, I want to improve this, whatever those things are, right? And then when we do these works, I mean, the point is, again, going back to the show and going back to the statement, is if we do more and more and more, we are potentially opening up the channel to get whatever those messages are or whatever. That's
Absolutely.
That's what we have to. But it starts with, wait, the connection is asking, putting the intention, and then doing it's the other things, right? And maybe that will shine the light.
Right. Absolutely. It occurred to me as you were speaking, I'm wondering, like, why do they call this show Shrinking? Well, it's about a group of therapists. That's one reason, and their friends. But the other thing is, like, paradoxically, like, growth comes from shrinking your ego, thinking that you can do it all on your own.
Right.
I don't know if they were thinking that. That's what I'm thinking. And again, in the context of this section, and in all these ways, like understanding the construct of a reality, because like we're all just hanging out in our own little spaces. It's easy to ignore the big picture. It's easy to ignore the big picture. Sometimes though it comes knocking. And we want to be open to see those things. To Peter's point, the more work we do, the more we're going to, with the light of the Creator's help, the more we're able to see. And hopefully, it's not even that it's one thing to see the pain. All right, great. It's like, what do I do about it? Well, I can't even begin to work until I can see it.
But there's also got to be something when you're asking to see the pain. I mean, you do it in such a way that it's in a revealed manner. It's just not necessarily an experienced manner. Like we all want to know what the pain is so that we don't necessarily constantly bring on more and more pain. So there has to be a way of phrasing that so that we get what we need. We get as much as we need and no more than we have to.
Right. I think that to some degree, the reason why we're not seeing it is because we're not ready for it. Like I think that the way the teachers explained it, and I've definitely had this conversation with astrologists too. Like if you do work with a Kabbalistic astrologist, they're never going to tell you more than you're supposed to hear. I mean, I've had astrologists say to me, there's more I want to say, and the light's not letting me. Great. Can I pay an extra fee for that? But like I said, because we're not ready. We're not ready to hear certain things. So there's that. I mean, I think again, we're going to trust in the light that what we're going to get exactly what we need to hear. All right, let's continue.
The meaning of this is that it amounts to the name of Elohim. He created a light for his light. This means
Okay,
that
so in the beginning, Breshit, literally, this is the creation story. Breshit bara Elokim. In the beginning, God created, or in the beginning, Elohim was created. So what this is referring to, the meaning of this is that it amounts to the name Elohim. He created a light for his light. Elohim is a vessel for his light. The word Elohim, which also means God. It's another one of those God numbers. It's the first name of God. Well, arguably, it's the third word in the Torah. It's the first appearance of a name of God, except every word of the Torah at some level is another name of God, which is a much deeper concept. But that aside, the Tetragrammaton doesn't show up first. The name Elohim shows up, which is a name that is within Malchut. It is a emanation of the light of the Creator. It's a vessel. And again, as we've often said, nothing manifests in our world without a vessel. So the creative energies of the Creator manifest in this. And so this was the light for his light. Let's continue. And by the way, as you pointed out yesterday, Elohim is arguably a plural word. Hence confusion about whether there's one God or not. And like, if he created Elohim, is that another God? We're all about there's one source. But we live again in this fragmented world where it appears that things are showing up disconnected. But the deeper understanding is that we're all connected. We're all on that tree of life. We're all connected, even though it shows up in life like we're not. Let's continue.
This means that he created the light of Chassidim as a precious garment for the light of Chokhmah, that is in the name of me, and they enclose each other.
Okay,
Then,
so there's this idea that the light of the Creator shows up via the 10 luminous emanations, the 10 sfirot, 10 specific channels. And the second, we read earlier in this paragraph that Binah is the heavens. Well, what is the source for Binah? The source for Binah is the second sfirah, it's Chokhmah. And that's a very high level of the Creator's light. It's the second sfirah. It's a very, very high light. Can we connect to it? Yes. But what the Zohar is pointing out is it can't manifest without chesed, without mercy. So in order for the light of chesed, the light of chasadim, in order for the light of chokhmah to manifest, it needs the vessel of chesed, chasidim. So again, underscoring the importance of, to manifest, you need a vessel in this world. Let's continue.
then Malchut mounted to the supernal name Elohim, which is the name of Binah. That is why the phrase, in the beginning Elohim created, refers to the upper Elohim, which is Binah, and not Malchut.
Okay, so again, and I think we discussed this in the afternoon class also, this idea that there's two levels of Elohim. There's Elohim that refers to Binah, and there's the Elohim that's in Malchut. So it's like an upper realm version and a lower realm version. Let's continue.
Ma, which is Malchut, is not there and is not constructed, according to the secret of me and El that we have mentioned previously.
Yeah, so this idea of me and Elah are those words have much deeper meaning. But the point is that Malchut is not there. Malchut is not in that realm, in that upper realm. Malchut is this realm with no light of its own. Malchut is this world that we occupy, that a world that we have to do work to manifest light, work of restriction, work of positive actions, work of charity, work of sharing, work of using our desire to receive and transforming that into a desire to receive for the sake of sharing. There are many spiritual disciplines out there, and there are differences somewhat unique to our spiritual discipline of the Kabbalistic path. Is this idea is that we're not trying to remove desire. We want to grow our desire, because the more desire we have, the more desire to receive for the sake of sharing there is. And if you're on this path, as our teachers explained, one of the reasons why you merited to be on this path is because you have a larger vessel, a larger spiritual vessel. And that large spiritual vessel is a desire. The greater your desire, the greater the size of your spiritual vessel. And the greater the size of your spiritual vessel, the more light you can manifest in this world, the more healing you can manifest, the more peace you can manifest, the more love you can manifest, the more blessings you can manifest from the upper realm. That's why sometimes when you talk to people, and it's like they're not interested at all. The vessel isn't there. The vessel isn't, they don't have that level of desire. I mean, it's good for you, but it really doesn't work for me. I'm happy with what I have. I mean, that's a soul that can they grow in desire? Yeah, they may wake up tomorrow and have overnight grown in their desire. But that's the difference between being on this path and not being on this path.
So I have a question about the desire. This came up in a conversation, and I was told, I think, information that doesn't totally align.
Okay,
So,
good. Then this is a good topic.
right. I mean, if we have a desire, like a deep desire that keeps resurfacing for us, that desire was put into us by Hashem. I mean, the Creator put that desire. We just
Where
didn't
else
pull
could
it out
it,
of thin air.
where else could it have come from? Could be coming from ego, could be coming from the Satan. Depends on what kind of desire it is.
Okay. If it's a desire for the sake of sharing and not self alone, then
Clearly,
there's no
that's your
question,
soul.
right? Clearly.
And that's the distinction. Do I desire this for myself, for self-benefit? Is it my desire for recognition? You think your soul wants to be recognized? Your soul doesn't want recognition, by way of example. It's me. I want recognition. I mean, I did the project. I'm not getting credit. I have the desire for recognition.
But what if that project is the thing? So you come up with this concept, you have this project, and you have this desire, and you go, okay, this is really about me. But you then start to reflect on that a little bit. You do a little deep soul diving, and you go, wait a sec, yeah, I mean it is, but really the passion behind it is to bring something to other people.
Yes.
That shifts the entire equation.
Yes. And where does the shift take place? On a PowerPoint? No, it takes place in my head. It's consciousness. And we always have to work on that because the default is I got to take care of myself. That's the default setting. So if we don't proactively remind ourselves that my purpose is using my desire to receive for the sake of sharing, then I'm going to fall into that desire to receive of the self. And you know what? Let's not beat ourselves up. It's human. It's about as human as it gets. Of course, I've desired I want a better life. It's human. It's spiritual to rise above that desire to receive of the self. That's me
Yeah.
connected to my soul. Yes, Peter.
David, I always think it's helpful to when people share, when we share, and it's more I'm trying to think of the right word I want to say, but the examples. So and I can't find the right word. So all I'm getting at is when, sort of to what Alex is saying, Alex, when we're really connected and something comes out of our mouth, an action comes out, and we kind of aren't even aware that we were doing it at the time, you only know after, then you were truly channeling, right? Then you weren't, right? When we really think we're weighing it down, and then it's coming from the ego. So I'm just trying to suggest how are we able to look at what we're doing to know so we have some sense for where it's coming from.
Yeah, I like that example. Like all of a sudden I realize, oh, what did I just say? Well, I didn't even think. I was just like channeling. And
David,
yes.
it's Andrea.
Hi.
Hi. So could the desire be coming from a past life that we have to
Mm.
heal? And so the desire is to heal, we're in this life and we have to heal it. So we start channeling because something comes out of us or an idea comes out or a project or whatever. But we have to channel the creator so we can start healing and the desire gets bigger. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. I mean,
So
again, it's like because we're aligned with we're aligned with our soul, we're aligned with the creator. And when we do that, stuff pops into our head.
well, so our purpose is to correct. And so in order to correct, we have to grow our desire. And so our desire to grow, in order to grow the desire, we have to keep peeling away layers and healing what we've, brought through from past lives till now. Does that?
Right. I mean, yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, if you don't have a desire, I think what you're saying is we need to grow in our desire, because if you don't
Right.
have enough desire, you're not going to be able to do the corrections that you need to correct, the things you can't
Right.
do. Yes.
Right.
That's like, okay, so you see people with like just low desire for a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't blame them. They've been bounced around a bunch. Right? I mean,
Yes.
I think I
And they're
shared
done.
when I came back from being stuck overseas in a war zone, like I was a little bit closed because you had to shut certain things down in order to like survive and not be going crazy all the time about the threats that were
Right.
surrounding us.
Right.
And like, that's just like, that can happen in specific situations when we're in a toxic environment. To survive, we turn certain of our sensitivities off because otherwise we'd be overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're out of that toxic situation. Assuming we know we're in a toxic situation, we don't always know we're in a toxic situation. But assuming we do know, then it's like, well, do I have the presence to like reboot and kind of reopen up? That takes a little while. It's like when you emerge from a negative situation where your energy is being taken, is being drawn out of. It's like something you have to give a lot of energy to. You feel drained. And it's like, then you're out of the situation. You got to give yourself time to recharge. I mean, we use these words, but that's literally what's happened. I've been in a situation that was toxic and it drained a lot of my energy.
Right.
Which is why we want to avoid being in toxic situations. It's like why we want, among the things we should ask for assistance with is knowing when I'm in a toxic situation, knowing when actually my energy is being drained by this. Knowing when my energy is being drained and knowing when I'm in a relationship where there's an exchange. Where it's like, not an enmeshment, but what I believe most forward-thinking relationship people would say is a co-creation. We're building something together. We're both sharing energy. That's where we want to be. And ultimately, and we're out of time, so I'm going to close with this. Ultimately, understanding the construct of our reality, understanding that this is a realm without any energy and we have to do work to manifest the light, and understanding that we have a relationship with the creator in doing that, that is our co-creation of perfecting the world. That's what we're working on. There's so much like hatred around the world. It's just like major energy drains. Like we want to be net positive. We want to be contributing. We want to be channeling. We want to be receiving for the sake of sharing. We want to negate all that toxicity around the world. And to be on this path is to have a greater capacity to receive for the sake of sharing. And we want to direct our attention. And that's why we always set our intention when we start these classes in a way that benefits the world. That's our role. And that is the purpose of the center. We're trying to remove all pain and suffering from the world. Okay, everybody. Thank you. We only got one paragraph, but it was a lot. So
We're getting
thanks
good.
for reading, Alex. Thanks so much.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom and
Shabbat shalom.
Yeah, Kodesh Tov.
Kodesh Tov.
Total.